Today we're talking about resistance and letting go, and maybe how they're connected for some of us. I learned resistance from my stepfather. First, I learned to resist him, an intruder into our privileged life in Piedmont, a rough man without college who courted my mother through fishing trips, a man who dragged us away from the city to live in the woods in Oregon, to chop wood or freeze, to raise pheasants, to build log cabins for tourists, to do what he wanted to do. I can't say exactly when I let go of my resistance to this alien father. Maybe it started when, despite myself, I began to learn resistance from him. He'd tell us he'd been lucky to lose the use of his left arm to polio when he was 3. He'd say, "I always had a challenge," and he rose to it. One-handed, he tied shoes, set nails, set beaver traps, rode a motorcycle. He resisted his disability. And Alan taught me the crucial lesson for teenagers in the 60s, to resist authority. He joined the local Sierra Club to resist, to protest rural subdivisions, ski resorts, dams on the rivers he and my mother fished. He taught us kids to pull up the survey stakes for new logging roads. A junior monkey wrench game. Slowly, childhood anger became grudging respect. I began to see I'd been standing in place, passively resisting him while he pushed or stumbled forward through whatever was in his way, building a life for himself, for my mother, and for his stepchildren, if they would have it. Alan resisted something his whole life. He wouldn't have admitted he let go of anything, but he did know how to move on. His resistance was not just standing his ground, it was perpetual motion. Moving on to bigger battles was how he let go of the earlier struggles, how he grew. First polio, later taming his stepchildren's anger, and then after years of lonely battles as the local Sierra Club rep, helping his allies found a group called 1,000 Friends of Oregon to fight for the land and the water they loved and resist all those rural subdivisions. The bigger the battle, the more friends involved, the more joy he took in this work. We can't take a stand without resisting the very earth beneath our feet, but to let go of our smaller struggles, we need to pick up our feet, dance some, and then move on. And to dance, we need friends. So I made friends with Alan. I let go. Danced a bit and moved on. From childhood anger to grudging respect and finally to love when I found that Alan was there for me in my adult life. When I brought home my adult troubles and when I was finally there for him and his. Like I said, Alan would never have admitted he let go of anything. That might have sounded like being wrong. But moving on, that was different. And the difference was real, not just stubbornness or pride. Lots of us let go and move on only when we find something bigger to resist, something that puts our earlier struggles in perspective. To let go, we need to live a bigger life with bigger struggles. But even as we get outside of our old struggles, their lessons can nourish us. Their irritating seeds, always there at our core, can produce beauty and strength. Alan could build log cabins, a game bird farm, even a loving relationship with a surly stepson, using nothing but some how-to books from the Klamath Falls Library, and the strength of someone who overcame polio and who was ready to let go and move on.